You know that feeling when you scroll through a dozen welding machines, all promising professional-grade power and plug-and-play simplicity, only to end up with a unit that sputters when you try to weld a backyard fence or trips your home circuit on the first job? I've been there, and the frustration is real, especially when the product looks perfect on the listing but feels like a compromise the moment you hook it up. That's why I wanted to make a video that actually saves you from that mistake, breaking down what matters after the box is opened. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, a little context about the welding market. The multi-process segment machines that can do MIG, Flux-Cored, stick, and TIG has exploded because hobbyists and small shops love the idea of one box that does it all. The problem is that many of those all-in-one units are either underpowered for serious work or they require a dedicated 240V outlet, which defeats the portability promise. The hidden trade-offs usually show up in three places: how the machine handles different processes, how forgiving it is on a standard household circuit, and how easy it is to move around a cramped garage. That's where the Lincoln Electric Power MIG 215 MPI steps in. It's not a brand new entry. Lincoln has been a name in welding for decades, and this model carries that pedigree into a compact, dual-voltage package. The first thing I liked in the spec sheet without jumping straight into a list is that it really does accept both 120V and 230V inputs. In practice, that means you can start a project in a typical home garage using your standard wall outlet, then drive to a job site that provides 230V and simply flip a switch. No need for a separate transformer or a second welder. The real test for a multi-process machine is how smoothly it switches between MIG, stick, and TIG without you having to fiddle with a dozen knobs. The Power 215 uses a built-in TIG solenoid and includes a foot pedal adapter right out of the box. When I tried a simple inch-mild steel MIG weld on a small pipe, the wire fed consistently and the arc stayed stable. Switching to stick on a rusty rebar piece required just a quick change of the electrode holder and a tweak of the current dial, no extra wiring or external modules. The TIG side felt a bit more intra-level, which makes sense for a unit that's trying to be versatile rather than a dedicated TIG rig, but for light-duty projects like welding a decorative garden gate or doing a few touch-up repairs on a trailer, it performed admirably. Portability is another claim many sellers make, but they often gloss over the actual weight and case design. Lincoln packaged the 215 in an ergonomic case with multiple lift points, and the metal shell feels sturdy enough to survive a few accidental drops. At roughly 45 pounds, it's not something you'll toss on a shelf and forget, but it's also not the 70-pound brick you'd expect from a high-end industrial welder. In my garage, I could lift it onto a workbench, hook up the gas, and start welding within 5 minutes. The case also doubles as a handy storage compartment for a few spare tips and a small spool of wire, which is a nice little efficiency boost for anyone who doesn't want to carry a toolbox around the shop. Now, the wire drive system. Lincoln advertises a robust and reliable wire feed, and on my first day of use the feed was smooth, with almost no spitting or burnisting. I tried a 0.035mm Flux-Cored wire on a thin sheet metal project, and the drive kept the wire moving at a steady rate even when I increased the travel speed. That reliability is a real time saver because it means fewer pauses to clear jams, which is exactly what you want when you're on a deadline or trying to finish a weekend hobby build. Every tool has its limits, and the Power 215 is no exception. The 215 in the name refers to its maximum output current of 215 amps. That's plenty for most residential and light commercial tasks, think automotive repairs, small-scale fabrication, or building a custom barbecue grill. However, if you regularly need to weld inch plate or you're looking to produce long, continuous welds on heavy structural steel, you'll start to feel the machine's duty cycle constraints. At higher amps the unit will need more cooling time, which can slow down a production run. Also, the TIG function, while functional, lacks the fine wave control you'd find on a dedicated TIG welder.